Hi, and thank you for joining me, Shanny Leigh, for this yoga sequence for back pain. I am currently in the Bahamas in Marsh Harbor in Abaco, and I'm at one of my favorite places to go, which is the closest dock to where my base is. I'm here volunteering with an organization called All Hands and Hearts, supporting post-Dorian recovery and relief efforts. So if you want to check out more about them, check out their website. And otherwise, I hope you live vicariously through me in this beautiful place. And thank you for joining me, and I'll see you on the mat. So we'll get started here in Tadasana on our feet, standing at the tops of our mats. And I encourage you to start to close your eyes and start to draw attention to your breath. Maybe for the first time today. Maybe you're just waking up. Maybe like me, you're doing this in the evening. And let's take 3 centering breaths here. Trying to release something, maybe in the body, maybe in the mind with each exhale. One more round. And big sigh out. Maybe stand up a little bit straighter, shoulders melt further away from your ears, and start to drop one ear towards one shoulder and take some nice neck rolls. Just waking up the body nice and slow. We're getting it ready for movement nice and slow. One more round of breath. And then let your chin come into your chest, and maybe you look up, maybe you look down, maybe you do side to side if that feels better. You can try both. Bring it back center. Now start to roll out the shoulders. An inhale can bring them up, and an exhale can bring them down. Or you can just kind of roll them out as feels good. Maybe you start to kind of weave around or wave around. Just kind of start to wake up here, wiggling the toes and the fingers. And last round of breath, just finding some movement and bring it back nice and center. And on your next inhale, maybe start to open your eyes and then start to lift the hands up into the sky. Push your palms up, interlace your fingers, take a big stretch here. And then let your left hand grab your right wrist, lean it over towards the left. If you feel any low back pain, try to squeeze your glutes. Inhale, lift, switch the grip, take it to the other side. Keeping your legs tight tries to relieve pressure off the back. Inhale, lift up. Bring your hands with the clasp behind your head. Inhale, open the elbows here. Stay here just to feel this for a moment. So you're not opening from the low back, right? You're not doing this. Your pelvis is nice and tucked, glutes nice and strong. You're opening from the shoulders and the chest. One more round of breath. And then exhale, start to tuck it in. Twice more. Inhale, legs stay active. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, last time. Bring it back center. Inhale, arms reach up, and let your hands come to your sacrum, this bone right here, and push your hips forward. Hopefully this feels nice and good and juicy. One more round of breath here. And then gently release. Arms reach up again and take it to the mat. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Let your head hang. Just letting gravity pull everything down for a moment. And now let's move into ragdoll, hooking your hands in your elbow crease. One more round of breath. And then slowly bring your hands with that clasp behind your head, and then find your clasp at the nape of your neck, drawing the crown of your head down, closer to the earth. Soft bend in the knees here. You can still rock from side to side if you want. One more round of breath. And then let your hands come to your sacrum, interlace your fingers again, and then let your hands come up overhead. If that doesn't work, you can grab your forearms or somewhere else. If there is any noise interference during this video, I do apologize. It's a pretty public dock or a public area. Last round of breath here. And exhale, let your hands come to the mat. Halfway lift, find a flat back, Ardha Uttanasana, reset, practice this pelvic tilt, and bend your knees, plant your hands, and you can step or hop your way back to plank as I fix my mat here, fighting the wind as well, wind and noise. Inhale, shift your weight forward, moving through a vinyasa. Keep your elbows in, lower halfway down into chaturanga. Hold there just to wake up the body a little bit, or you can lower all the way down. Untuck the toes, drop the hips, shine your chest forward. Upward facing dog or cobra. You can do baby cobra, rising cobra. Hips on or off the mat. One round of breath here because it feels nice and juicy. And then exhale, use your lower abdominal muscles to pull your hips up and adjust your feet as you shift your hips back to find downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Take a round of breath here, maybe pedal something out if it feels good. And just remember that we are looking for a long line between the crown of the head and the tailbone, not between the heels and the hips. Take one more round of breath here, and then start to find stillness if you were moving. And then weight in the left hand, start to take the weight off of the right hand, draw it underneath, shoot it across, and reach for your left leg. Breathe here. As you're ready, let both hands come back to the mat and switch, taking the weight off the left one so that you can reach underneath and grab your right leg. Find a little twist here. Maybe you look under your right shoulder or armpit or arm. Take one more round of breath there. And then bring both hands back to the mat. One more, inhale. And exhale, let your knees come to the mat, find tabletop pose. Untuck the toes if that feels good, maybe sway around, release the neck a little bit. And then we'll wake up the spine. As you're ready, on the inhale, sway your back, drop your belly, shine your chest forward, cow pose. On the exhale, tuck everything in, push your upper back towards the sky or the ceiling, cat pose. Twice more, inhale. And exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale, cat. Bring it back to center, tabletop, nice flat back. Walk your hands a little closer underneath. Left hand stays, right arm opens up as you breathe in. Find a nice extension and then thread the needle. Exhale, weave it underneath. It's an option, you can keep your hand here as always. I like to say you can walk it out, get a nice lateral extension, or wrap it around your low back. Whatever feels good to you in this moment. Let's take one more round of breath here. And then let your hand come back by your face. If it's not already, lift it up. And we'll take that to the other side. Right hand stays, the left arm opens up this time as you breathe in. And thread the needle, Parsvabalasana on the other side. Again, your right hand finds any way that feels good to it. Let's take one more round of breath here. And then bring your right hand back by your face. Come back into tabletop. Walk your hands out even further. If you need the extra space, walk your knees back and drop your chest to the mat. Find Utthana Shishosana, extended puppy dog pose. So if you see right now my back's super arched and I can feel that, I actually want to tuck my tailbone and draw my core in so that I have a longer line, right? So it's not necessarily just how far you can dip into it if you're on your chin. Hopefully you like the sound of the gulls crying in the background, but trying to find a different stretch, right? So you can have your belly super dropped or you can tuck it in. Let's take one more round of breath here. And then we will bring ourselves to rising cobra pose. Start to undulate the body up. That means you need to adjust your hands on your mat so then you can drop your hips. I've been doing a lot of building work, and so this feels really nice. One round of breath, and then we'll bring it back to child's pose, balasana. Start to lift the hips. If you want to open the knees, you can. Shoot them back. Drop the chest towards the earth. If you need a little bit more space, you can stack your arms and create a little pillow. Just take one round of breath here, and then start to walk your hands off towards the right. You can stack even left hand on top of right if that feels good. One round of breath here. And then take it to the other side. Again, stacking if you want. One more round of breath. And then bring it back to child's pose once more. Big breath in, big breath out. Bring it back up, tabletop, and we'll find our way back to downward facing dog. Tuck the toes and lift your hips. And so now we'll be moving between plank, the knees, chest, chin, slither through, and then downward facing dog. So as you're ready, inhale to prep, lift the heels and start to undulate the body forward into plank. And then drop the knees, elbows stay in, drop the chin, drop the chest, slither on through, rising cobra, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, prep, lift, undulate, plank. Drop the knees, drop the chin and the chest, slither on through, shine your chest, tuck the toes, and lift your hips. Once more, undulate forward, knees, chest and chin, Bhujangasana, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Try to release any tension you have maybe in the face. And then left foot stays, right leg lifts up. Bend your knees, scorpion leg your dog. I'm actually recovering from a knee injury as well. And I think this is the first time I've been able to do this in 2 weeks, so that feels really nice. Nice big hip opener. One more round of breath, and then we'll take it right into pigeon pose by kissing our right elbow with our right knee, swinging our foot over towards the left, and shimmying our way down onto our mat. If this doesn't feel good for you, you can come to a seat and cross right ankle over right knee, or you can do that same thing on your back. Whatever works for you. We'll take a few more rounds of breath here to settle in. So you can stay up high if you want and get a little bit more into the hip flexor as well, or you can fold your chest over your mat. For me, I'm just doing a nice, gentle evening flow here. But this could be at any time of the day for you. Let's take one more round of breath here. Sigh it out. And we'll be making our way back to downward facing dog. So if that means you need to come into tabletop to do that, if you want to come into three-legged dog and then downward dog, you can. Your practice is yours. Take a round of breath to get there. And then we'll meet in Adho Mukha Svanasana and take that to the other side. Right foot stays, left leg lifts, knee bends, open your hip. This feels so good. When you can't do this stretch for a while and then you can, I think this is the first time in 2 weeks, I'm just like, oof, it's really nice. One more round of breath and then we'll find pigeon on the other side. Bring knee to elbow, swing the foot around and drop the hips. Or come into the variation that you need. And we'll be about 8 rounds of breath here. So you can stay up nice and tall. You can fold over. If the position you're in are the hips sinking to the mat position, asana posture. Taking a few more rounds of breath here. Let's take about 2 to 3 more rounds of breath. Big exhale out. This is one of my favorites. I almost don't want to leave it. And as you're ready, start to make your way back to downward facing dog, either through tabletop or rolling around or three-legged dog first, whatever that means to you. Maybe you lift the hips and then send it back. And we'll meet in Adho Mukha Svanasana. Take one more round of breath here. Sigh it out. Lift the heels, bend the knees, gaze forward to prep, and we'll make our way to the top of our mat. Jump or step. That's also, I think, the first time I've been able to jump up too in a few weeks. Sure, you needed to know that. Lower over your legs. Hang here for a moment. Let gravity do its thing. Decompressing the spine. And then inhale halfway lift, find your flat back, Ardha Uttanasana, Uttanasana, bow, pour back over. Rise all the way up, arms reach up into the sky, or Hastasana, maybe even a slight back bend if that feels okay in your back. And then you can bring your hands heart center or down to your side. Take one round of breath here, and then we'll go right back down. Inhale, arms reach up, maybe a slight back bend. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, breathe it in. Breathe it out, step or hop your way up to plank and shift your weight forward, elbows stay in, lower all the way or halfway down. You can hold in Chaturanga if you want. You can hold in Cobra or upward facing dog or Urdhva Mukha Svanasana if you want. We'll eventually meet together, Adho Mukha Svanasana. If you like me, if you look at my feet right now, I'm up on my toes curled. If that feels okay in your feet, it's also a really nice stretch. Ooh, but just be careful when you release it. Take one more round of breath here. Exhale, side up. Inhale, lift the heels again. And now this time start to walk the big toes together. And then start to bend the knees on the exhale. Dip your hips off towards the right. Inhale, bring them back center. And now start to shift your hips towards the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, big breath in. Big breath out. Bring it back center, settle in. Just notice where you are at. Maybe your heels are closer to the mat. Maybe they're not. That's okay. One more round of breath here. And then set your knees down. Exhale, untuck the toes, and we'll be coming into Vajrasana pose. If that doesn't feel good, just find your way onto a seat. Take a moment here. Reconnect with your breath, maybe an intention. And then inhale, arms reach it up. And then bring your hands out to a T. Exhale, hold here just for a moment to feel how there's space between your ears and your shoulders, that your belly's not popping out, but that your core is nice and tucked and everything's a long line. One more round of breath. And then turn your palms out. Open the arms from pulling your shoulders, not from arching your back. And then exhale, cross right over left. Give yourself a hug as you tuck everything in. Inhale, open, more from the shoulders and the low back. And left over right, cross, hug, tuck. Twice more, inhale. And exhale. Once more. Give the world a hug. Give yourself a hug. Inhale, bring it back center. And then exhale, right arm crosses over left. And stay here, either giving yourself a nice hug, or you can bring your forearms together and find a bind to find Garudasana, eagle arms. Either way, inhale, lift your elbows up. And exhale, bring them in. You can fold as much as you want here. Inhale. Maybe you start to open your back a little bit more. And exhale. Once more, inhale. And exhale. Bring it back center, unwind, and we'll take it to the other side. Other arm on top, finding a hug or eagle Garudasana arms, and breathe in, lift. Breathe out, fold. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Bring it back center. Unwind. Give one more hug. And then let your hands come down. Maybe roll the shoulders out or something else out in the neck, whatever you're feeling. And then inhale, arms reach up. And then this time, bend your right elbow. Find a nice tricep stretch. You can do this, or you can find the Gomukhasana bind if that works in your body and you know what that is. Behind your back. I would show you, but with like my knee still being kind of tweaked and me being on a hard wooden surface, I'm like, I don't really feel like turning super quick. One more round of breath here. And then arms reach up and we'll switch, finding a left tricep stretch with or without the cow-faced pose bind. Maybe bring a smile to your face. One more round of breath here. And then arms reach up again, inhale, and right hand to the mat, lean it over to the right. Maybe you even put your top hand on top. And then keep your right hand on the mat. Start to lift the torso and drop your top hand towards the opposite ear, pull it over, opposite arm can float. I know where this is like for low back pain, you're like, why are we working on the neck? I feel like it's all connected. Or at least we all need to work on the neck. Inhale, lift it up, take it to the other side, lean it over. And again, stay here, maybe create some pressure. Also opening up your lats, right, and all your hips. It's all connected to the low back as well. And then finding that opposite ear grab. Opposite hand can float if it wants. It's also practicing keeping your core in, everything up and tight. And release. Take a second, do a body check-in. And then we will be moving into camel pose. So if you know that works in your body, that's great. I will offer variations. If you want to roll something up under your knees, you can. Otherwise, on your next inhale, lift high up onto your knees, shine your chest to the sky. And then bring your hands to your hips, exhale, and just feel a pelvic tilt, right? So you want to tuck your pelvis so that everything's nice and tight. You're not arching your back like this. I tend to do that a lot, actually. So just find that engagement in the glutes, in the core for a moment. One more round of breath here. Exhale, side out. And then inhale, arms reach up. And then take your right hand, reach it back or have it on your hip, whichever way. And then if it doesn't reach, I also like to tuck my toes. And that way I can find my heel a little bit easier. Take a round of breath here. And then bring it up and take it to the other side. Again, left hand on your hip and or reaching for your heel. Probably or, not and. You can't reach for your hip and your heel at the same time, pushing your hips forward. One more round of breath. Keep engagement in the glutes. Lift your arms up and now bring both hands to your sacrum again like we did earlier. And now push into your sacrum as you continue to squeeze your glutes and stay active in the legs. And then start to draw your shoulders and elbows back. If you know this feels good for you, stay here. You can do the variation of reaching right and left, or from here, keeping all of this engagement in the lower body, you can reach for your heels. Maybe drop your head back. Ustrasana, camel pose. 4 more rounds of breath here. Keep squeezing your glutes. Last round of breath. Side out, start to tuck the chin first, then bring one hand up, then the other. Whoo, and then sit it down, let the spine kind of readjust for a hot second, or a cold one. I say hot second a lot, and my brother-in-law is like, what about a cold second? Inhale, arms reach up, and exhale, take your hands to your mat. Find your way to tabletop pose, adjust, maybe sway it out. One round of breath here. Maybe create a little bit more space. Keep your elbows in, drop your chest and your chin to the mat, slither it through cobra pose, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Take a round of breath here. Side up, left foot stays, right leg lifts up, bend the knee, scorpion leg your dog. Option to stay here, or if you know wild thing is in your practice, I invite you to flip your dog around, open your chest to the sky, finding wild thing. Take one more round of breath here. With control, start to come back into three-legged dog if you weren't already. And then tuck your knee in towards your chest, nice and slow. Bring it through, step it through. Stay high on the back knee, runner's lunge. Whew, stretching out our hip flexors. Sending energy through the back heel. Trying to create space between your belly and your knees, and your arch like slumped over. One more round of breath, and then left hand plants, open the right arm to the sky. One more round of breath, and then we're going to lift up, dropping our, what is now our top hand, back to our back leg. So as you're getting ground down in the front heel, as you slowly lift, reverse, and revolve your lunge. Bite the shaking. One more round of breath here. And then exhale, hands cartwheel back to the mat, shine your chest forward, and take it back to plank. Inhale, shift your weight forward, and move through your Vinyasa flow. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. And take it to the other side. Right foot stays, left leg lifts, and bend the knee, open it up. So if you don't want to just flip from here into wild thing, you can bring yourself forward into a plank, step your top foot over, and then turn and open. A little bit more accessible. I also haven't been able to do this pose in 2 weeks, so I'm very excited right now. One more round of breath. And then we'll make our way back to our three-legged dog, scorpion leg, and then lunge. Step your foot all the way through and settle in if that means you need to open it up a bit more. This feels really good in the hip flexors. Take one more round of breath, and then right hand plants open, the left arm to the sky. Send energy through the back heel. So this is for like entire back pain. If I ever said at one point, just low back, I'm trying to go for the whole back. When you're roofing and flooring all day, it really hurts. Ground down in the front heel, and then start to use your core and your obliques to lift. Drop what was your top hand behind you. The hand that was on the floor rises up overhead. Reverse revolved lunge. Getting into the hip flexors a little bit here. Sometimes that's connected with back pain as well. And adding a little bit of strength in. Construction's exhausting work, but it's not like high intensity or anything, right? You're not like pumping iron. One more round of breath. And then bring both hands back to the mat, cartwheel them, find your way to your plank, and move through your Vinyasa flow, or just go right into downward facing dog. Take one more round of breath here. And now we'll move into yogi squat. So if you just want to step one foot up and out wide, and then the other one you can. Or if you want to hop, you can. Inhale, lift the heels, bend the knees, gaze forward, and step or hop your way. Sink your hips. Bring your hands heart center. Malasana. We'll take 4 more rounds of breath here. Two more rounds of breath. Trying to stay nice and tall in the spine, pressing into your hands, equal opposition. Elbows are helping the knees push out. Last round of breath here. And then maybe from here you can sit it right on down and scooch yourself back, extend your legs out straight to find Paschimottanasana. Maybe remove the flesh from underneath your sit bones, arms reach up into the sky, and exhale, forward fold. Reaching for wherever is available to you. I like to say you can always put a blanket under your knees or open mat, put a block, use your fists. Yoga is for everyone and every body. Not everybody, every body. Right? Just stretching. You don't have to be flexible. That's what I hear a lot too. I can't do yoga, I'm not flexible. If you're doing this video, then I'm probably preaching to the choir. One more round of breath here. And then inhale, start to roll it up. Bring your right knee in, cross it over your left. Right hand comes behind, inhale, left arm reaches up and crosses over to the outside of the right knee. Ardha Matsyendrasana, half Lord of the Fishes pose. Gazing over your back shoulder, staying up nice and tall in the spine. One more round of breath. I feel like I do this one a lot in my flows, but it just feels so good. And unwind, and we'll take it to the other side. Crossing other knee You're bringing the other knee to the chest, crossing the other foot, left hand behind, right arm crosses over, sitting up nice and tall. Reconnecting with the breath. Using your lungs to help create space. Last round of breath, and then exhale, start to unwind. Bring the knees back, sit up nice and tall here, just in Dandasana. One more round of breath. Exhale, side out. And then we'll come into bridge prep pose, if that means you have to adjust on your mat. And then lie it back as you are ready. Start to walk your shoulder blades in closer underneath. Tuck your tailbone so there's no space between your low back and the mat. Knees are about shoulder distance apart. Ground down in the heels, tuck the tailbone, and then with the flat back, use your lower glutes and your upper hamstrings to lift. Bridge pose. And now you can stay here. If you want to make this restorative and you have a block, you can place that underneath your sacrum. I'm going to cue wheel pose if you want to do something a little more quote-unquote advanced. Exhale, release if you're moving there. And then bring your hands by your ears. Fingers are pointing by your shoulders. And then as you're ready, push up into your hands. If you know wheel is part of your practice, Urdhva Dhanurasana. And settle in here. 5 rounds of breath. You know what I like? If you want to come out, you can. Otherwise, 3 more rounds of breath. Because for me, this feels really good. Press into your glutes. 1 more round of breath. And then start to bend your elbows. You can come onto the crown of your head or slowly drop it. Take a second, let your body adjust. And then I'll cue a shoulder stand. So start to walk your shoulders even up more underneath. I like to use my heels to lift. And I interlace my fingers and cup them around my tailbone. And then I drop my hips, bring my knees into my chest, and then use momentum to lift myself up. So once you're here, you can hang out. You can drop one leg straight or knee bent. You can kind of just play around with your legs in the air. Whatever serves you in this moment. Finding stillness or finding movement. And then if you really want, you can drop both legs onto the mat, finding plow pose. Sending energy through your heels. This is really great for the back and the hamstrings if this is too intense for you. Or, I shouldn't say it's too intense. If you want to get more into the neck, bend your knees and let your knees fall around your ears. Maybe your knees even touch the mat. Don't push it just to touch it. Just let gravity help you get there. Maybe bend one knee and push the other heel out. I love doing this stretch in the mornings. Just take one more round of breath here. And then slowly start to come out of it. I kind of like to bring my hands down my legs as if I'm finding kind of like an upside down Paschimottanasana pose. And I gently release out of it. Letting my feet come back to the mat, knees bent. If you need to adjust on your mat, you can. Just take a second to let the spine be neutral. And then slowly, as you're ready, let your hands come to a T. Maybe windshield wiper the legs just a little bit. Not trying to do too much crazy movement here. And then you can drop them right where they're at. You can bring them into your chest and drop them, or you can straight leg drop to find a supine twist, looking in the opposite direction as your knees. One more round of breath here. And then bring it up, take it to the other side. One more round of breath here. Bring it center, and then do whatever else you want. If you still want a happy baby, if there's anything else in your practice that you need to wiggle out or move out, find it now. Or just move into your Shavasana pose. And you're like watching me like, what is she doing? I'm just stretching out my quads so you can continue to do your hips by doing like a reclined pigeon or reclined cow face pose, like reclined eagle legs. Lots of things you can do and lots of nothing you can do as well. You can just be and lie. Take a longer Shavasana. If you notice that one side, at any point of this hat, you notice one side was tighter than the other, that's totally fine. I just noticing that now. The other leg that I just did was a lot tighter. Just know you need to send that area a little bit more love, maybe a little bit longer stretching, but don't try to make it too wonky. And then if you're not already in Shavasana, find what you need to find. If you are on a hard surface like me and it hurts, I like to create like a little triangle under or around my tailbone, and that relieves some of the pressure of my tailbone against a hard surface. Although it's hard to find stillness right now with the bugs, it's part of the practice. Letting go of distraction. I may or may not cut all the sound out of this video right now. Part of me is like, ooh, maybe I'll keep it in. And that's part of the practice, right? Listen to the noise around you. If you feel your mind wandering, maybe you focus on the sounds around you. If you can't, focus on something in the breath or the body. And let's just take 3 more rounds of breath here. Big exhale out. And then I welcome you to start to find gentle movement in the body. Maybe that's wiggling your fingers. I'll probably cut most of the sound effects out, but if you notice me scratching a lot, it's because the sand flies have come out. The wind has died down enough. Maybe you roll onto one side. Maybe you use your bottom arm as a pillow if that feels good. And then I encourage you to come up into whatever final asana you want to close out your practice in. Sitting up nice and tall. Maybe your hands stay on your knees, maybe they come heart center. I hope you feel a little more open in the back. And I hope you enjoy this beautiful view of one of my most frequented places during my time here in the Bahamas. This is my last week, so this may be my last video from this series. But I thank you for joining me. I thank you for living vicariously through me, for following my travels and my work. Again, I'm here with All Hands and Hearts, and I encourage you to look into them. Maybe you want to volunteer as well, or just support in other ways, doing recovery and relief efforts after disasters. Thank you again. The light in me loves the light in you. Namaste.